If you've ever taken a world history class or read a book about the Napoleonic Wars, then you've probably heard of Napoleon Bonaparte. But how did he go from being a low-ranking artillery officer to one of the most feared men in Europe? When Napoleon was born in 1769 on the island of Corsica, which had recently become a part of France, his father was a member of the local nobility. This meant that Napoleon could get access to a good education and eventually pursue a career in the military. Like many young Corsican men, at age 9, he was sent to a military academy in mainland France, but his family's relatively low status meant that he would not receive any special treatment. In fact, he was often overlooked for promotions because of his background, but what he lacked in connections, he made up for with skill and determination. After graduating top of his class at the military academy, he went on to attend a prestigious university in Paris, where he became an artillery officer. However, when the French Revolution broke out in 1789, Napoleon left the army to fight for the revolutionary cause. He quickly rose through the ranks and won several important battles against the royalist rebels. This caught the attention of the revolutionary government, and in 1793, they sent him on a mission to defend France's northern border against an invading army led by the Dutch Republic and the Kingdom of Great Britain. Despite being outnumbered and inexperienced, Napoleon successfully defended France's borders and returned home a hero. He soon became a general and fought against Austria, Great Britain, Prussia, and Russia in the War of the First Coalition. After years of fighting, France emerged victorious, and although Napoleon was not involved in the peace negotiations, he was celebrated as one of the heroes of the war. His fame grew, and with it, the respect and admiration of his fellow citizens. And this would prove crucial for what came next. In 1799, while serving in Egypt, Napoleon learned that the French Directory, the governing body of France, had fallen, and that a group of military leaders known as the Consulate had taken over. The Consulate was composed of 3 first consuls, with the most power residing in the first consul, who was currently Napoleon's former rival, General Sia. Realizing that there was a chance to seize even more power for himself, Napoleon began his journey back to France. Along the way, he staged a coup d'etat in northern Italy and consolidated his control over the region. Then he traveled to Paris, where he convinced that he should be appointed as the new first consul. Although never trusted Napoleon fully, he agreed to share power with him, and together they established a new constitution, which gave them both significant powers over the French state. Although the title of first consul is very similar to that of dictator, it didn't carry nearly as much weight in ancient Rome. So let's move on. As first consul, Napoleon was responsible for defending France's northern border against a coalition of European powers. He easily won the war and expanded France's territory into Belgium, the Netherlands, parts of Germany, and northern Italy. These victories made him extremely popular in France, and some people even began to call him emperor. Though technically he wasn't an emperor, not everyone was happy with Napoleon's growing power, though many members of the Directory opposed him, as did some influential clergy and aristocrats. In response, Napoleon took further steps to consolidate his control over France. He introduced a series of reforms aimed at modernizing the country and making it more efficient. He established a new centralized banking system, created a national lottery, and reformed the tax code. He also introduced a metric system and reorganized the French legal system. All of these reforms were well received by the French people, and Napoleon's popularity skyrocketed. But it wasn't just Napoleon's domestic policies that were successful. He continued to win victories on the battlefield and expanded France's empire throughout Europe. By 1802, he had defeated the Austrians and the British and had established control over much of Western Europe. At this point, it seemed as if Napoleon could do no wrong. He was a successful general, a brilliant reformer, and a beloved leader. The only thing missing from his life was a legitimate claim to the throne. And so on May 18th, 1804, Napoleon crowned himself Emperor of France. Too many? This may have come as a surprise. After all, Napoleon had been a key player in ending the French monarchy. But the reality was that Napoleon was a pragmatist who was willing to use any means necessary to achieve his goals. And in his eyes, the trappings of royalty were simply another tool to be used in his quest for power. Plus, crowning himself emperor made him seem more legitimate in the eyes of the French people, and he knew that this would help him to maintain control. As emperor, Napoleon continued his policy of expansion and conquest. He defeated the Austrians again and expanded his empire into Germany, Poland, and Italy. He also launched a series of economic and social reforms aimed at making France the dominant power in Europe. These reforms included the establishment of a national bank, the introduction of a new currency, and the creation of a merit-based civil service. Napoleon also introduced a series of legal reforms, including the Napoleonic Code, which was a comprehensive set of laws that applied equally to all citizens. These reforms made France a more modern and efficient state and helped to pave the way for its emergence as a great power in the 19th century. Napoleon's empire would eventually collapse, but his legacy would live on. He would be remembered as one of the greatest military commanders in history, a brilliant reformer, and a symbol of the French Revolution. Whether you love him or hate him, there's no denying that Napoleon had a profound impact on Europe and the world. So, we hope you enjoyed learning about Napoleon's rise to power. Now it is time for you to take a journey back in time and discover the secrets of another historical figure. Next up, click here to learn about Genghis Khan and how he united the Mongols. Or click here to learn about ancient Thebes and how it became the most powerful city in Greece. Whichever adventure you choose, we know you'll be in for a wild ride. So don't wait. Click now and let the learning begin. Before we wrap up, make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on all of our latest content. And if you want to continue learning about Napoleon and other historical figures, check out the links in the description below for additional resources. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time, and we'll see you next time. We have a lot of videos about ancient history, medieval history, and modern history, but what about the history of the Middle Ages? Well, don't worry, we've got you covered. Check out our sister channel, where you can watch all kinds of videos about everything from ancient Greece to the fall of the Roman Empire. We know you won't regret it. And if that's not enough for you, we also have another channel where you can learn about all kinds of amazing discoveries from archaeology to paleontology. We're talking about real-life Indiana Jones stuff here. And do UNT forget to visit our shop, where you can buy all kinds of cool stuff, like hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, and more. It's the perfect way to show your friends and family that you're a real history buff. So what are you waiting for? Click on the links below and start exploring today.